What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Eclectic Collector channel. It's been a couple of months since the last haul video we did. I usually do these once every couple of months. That's the way that I structure these because I don't like to drop one of these every month. So I feel like this way I can talk about more stuff because I really don't pick up like 100. Oh yeah, I don't pick up like because I don't pick up like 100 or 200 volumes of manga a month like of the some of the other manga tube channels that you may watch. I'm not like in any way, shape, or form like trying to throw dirt at anybody. I'm just saying like I don't really like pick up like that much manga like en masse, but I do pick up a lot of stuff in that I have, I think, like 71 volumes of manga in this haul. And for the most part, the way that I structure these videos is that I go by pretty much like my single volumes, and then after that I go into like soft paperback omnis, and then from there I go into, if I were to pick up Spanish volumes, I would go into those, but I don't have any Spanish volumes, so instead I'm just going to go into like hardcovers. And then from there, we're going to go into like omnibus hardcovers. And if I'd had any like, comics or whatever, I would do comics last, but I don't have any comics this haul. It's strictly manga. I will have some Spanish volumes of manga for the next haul, but that won't be until, I guess, like July or something. Then that'll be like my May, June haul, because I do have some Spanish stuff that I picked up, and that's not going to arrive until like May. I picked it up from Spain. It ships from Spain, so it's going to be a pretty long time before it actually arrives to me. But I have some complete collections, and I might take a little bit of time to talk about them. If you watch this channel, you know that I will go on and on about a series, so I'm probably going to do that in this one, just letting you know up front. But I don't want to waste any more time. I just wanted to set it up and kind of tell you the way that I do these. And now that I've kind of explained all that, let's jump right into the first volume of this haul. So we're going to start this haul off with Sashimi by Mako Vice. I love Mako Vice. I follow this creator on Instagram. I did a video about independent creators, and I talked about Mako Vice, and Mako Vice actually commented on that video, and that made me really happy that they commented on my video. But I haven't read this yet, unfortunately. I've been meaning to, and like I've been wanting to, but I just keep like, I tend to read for videos, and since like I wasn't gonna be talking about Sashimi for a video, like I haven't got into it yet. But Mako Vice does have another manga that's going to be dropping pretty soon. I'll post a picture of it right over here. But I'm sure this is going to be wild. Their other one, Udon, I absolutely loved. So I'm really looking forward to Sashimi. I kind of skimmed through it a little bit just to get a view of the artwork, and the artwork is absolutely bananas. This doesn't have a publisher because it's self-released by Mako Vice. I highly recommend picking up anything by this creator, or even picking up their shirts or whatever they make, their artwork, because they are an independent creator, and I love to support those kinds of creators and whatnot. So yeah, this is definitely one that I'm gonna recommend if you like super gory, like super bloody, just irreverent goodness, just a lot of fun and whatnot. So yeah, right off the bat we got Mako Vice. All right, next up we've got Dandadan by Yukinobu Tatsu. This dude can do no wrong in my book. I am caught up with the manga, like I read it on the Manga Plus app, and I love just this story gets progressively better. This is leading up to an arc that I'm not going to talk about because I don't want to start spoiling the series, but there's this really wild arc that ends up taking place. That's like a huge, sprawling arc, and it really just emphasizes, Yukinobu Tatsu's incredible ability to create just this wild story and have it go for as many chapters as it's going for now. I think it's like 150 chapters if I'm not mistaken. I'll put the actual chapter up until I'm making this video, the actual chapter count that it's up to. But I mean, it's been consistent, like week after week. This dude has just been pumping out chapter after chapter, and the way that these chapter spreads sometimes are ridiculous. His artwork is absolutely unreal, and there's a reason that he's one of the best there is at the moment. So yeah, I highly recommend Dandadan if you like irreverent manga. There is an anime that's coming out soon too, and I cannot wait for the anime because to see this insane world brought to life is just going to be bananas, especially for like anime onlys that have never read Dandadan that are going into it completely blind. I feel like they're gonna have a ton of fun with it. And I know that I'm like revisiting it, as a fervent, manga reader. I'm really excited for it as well. So yeah, let's see where that goes. So next up, we've got Mieruko-chan, and Mieruko-chan is by a creator named Tomoki Izumi, and this is by Yen Press. I love this series, dude. This is up to volume 9, and it's seriously like from where it starts, to like where it ends up much later on. The transitions of the series. I've done 2 videos about this thing. I did one video like a long time ago called, I think, like Let's Talk About. I think I did Let's Talk About Mieruko-chan like a lifetime ago, and then I recently did a Why You Should Read Mieruko-chan video. And yeah, this is one of those series that, has meant the absolute world to me. I love this character right here of Miko, who is a girl that can see, she can see like yokai or whatever, she can see ghosts. And she pretends like she can't see them at first, but then later on as the story starts to get going, she wants to be able to help them, to try to communicate with them in some cases. And in some cases, it is not the best idea for her to be trying to communicate with these things because they are horrible monsters. Not all of them, not all the ghosts are terrible. Some of them are actually kind of cool. And yeah, it doesn't always, pan out for the best, her getting involved. But I love the series. In the beginning, there's a little bit of fan service, but once it gets going, once it finds its traction, it kind of leaves the fan servicey stuff behind, and it actually becomes one of the best series that I've personally, ever consumed. So yeah, check out Mieruko-chan if you want like a good horror comedy manga. Yeah, and the artwork is absolutely phenomenal. So much better than the anime. If you saw the anime and you're like, I don't want to read this thing because I hated the anime, please read the manga. It's so much better, dude. Yeah, that's one of my favorite series. Alright, so next up we've got Grace, Rosa. I'm going to be reading this for a video, I'm pretty sure. And this is kind of like a revenge sort of a manga where her, I guess, adoptive pappy, her adoptive dad gets kidnapped or something like that. And then she goes on a bloody quest for revenge to get her pappy back. And the artwork for this looks pretty wild. I'm really excited to read it. This is by Titan Manga. I actually have another single volume from Titan Manga. It's a volume 1. There's more of that series. I think it's called the Great Yokai War, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what that series is called. And yeah, this is the second now volume that I have from Titan Manga. I think Titan Manga is like a comic publisher, but they're starting to get into manga, from comics. And then I also have 3 volumes from another series from another publisher that was also a I guess exclusively comic book publisher that's also starting to get into manga, and I'll talk about those soon. They're coming up in this video. But yeah, I picked up 3 series, 3 of 4 or 5 series that this publisher has released. So yeah, this is I guess the second one that I know of by Titan Manga, which is I guess Titan Comics originally or whatever. But the artwork for this looks wild. It's a super bloody story, and once I actually begin it, I will give you all a legit detailed rundown of the story of the content within. If you like that sort of a thing, I do currently reading videos on this channel. As of today, this Friday, on which I'm recording this video, I just released my currently reading late spring 2024 video. So when I do those sorts of videos, I go into in-depth, detail about each thing that I talk about, and usually I pick 5 series. I think this is going to be a part of my summer run of that, so I will be going really into the series and talking about the different aspects of it, the different characters and whatnot. So if you want a way more detailed explanation, you're gonna have to wait for that video, because I haven't started reading it yet. Usually when I'm gonna read for videos, I wait until I'm gonna drop that video and then I start reading the series. That way it's way more fresh in my mind. But really looking forward to this based on just that artwork alone. And I love revenge stories. That's one of my favorite genres. By Yonja Park. This is a webtoon unscrolled series. This is The God of High School. This is the second volume of The God of High School. I talked about the first volume of The God of High School in a Hey Have You Read video. I think it was my second Hey Have You Read video, in which I talked about the first volume of God of High School. Pretty much these characters right here go into a tournament. These three characters. Let's go right here, whose name is like Mira, I think her name is. I forgot what his name is, and I forgot what that dude's name is as well. Yo Min or something. I can't remember what his name is, but pretty much these three like high school age characters enter this thing called the Guide of High. Enter this tournament called the God of High School, and when they enter the tournament, they face off against like some of Korea's like toughest fighters. This is a Korean thing, a Korean series. This is a manhwa, and yeah, the people they go up against are pretty strong, and the series is actually really good. I tried to watch the anime forever ago on Crunchyroll, and I couldn't get into it. I ended up reading the manga, and I loved the first volume of the manga, so I'm really looking forward to continuing it. And I got the second volume right here. If you like this sort of a thing, you can check out the video that I made. If you want like a more in-depth explanation of the series and of the power system that exists within this universe, I do a much better explanation there. But like I got a lot of stuff that I got to get through, so I'm trying not to say too much about each thing. But this is a lot of fun. It's action-packed. It's also really funny. The characters are a ton of fun to be around. I really like Mira a lot. I think she's one of the best parts of the series. She kind of reminds me of Nobara from Jujutsu Kaisen. So yeah, definitely worth checking out in my opinion. Alright, so we got Chained Soldier Volume 7. I really like this series a lot. I kind of want to do a video about it, but I don't know if I should or not, because it's like pretty much just like straight up a cultured manga. It's actually really good though. Like the art is solid. At first I wasn't like a huge fan of some of the characters in it. They weren't like that super well fleshed out, but I mean at the same time, like you're not reading a cultured manga for fleshed out characters. Though sometimes you will get that. Sometimes a cultured manga will give you like solid characters. And the artwork is actually really good. This series has pretty solid artwork. I like the characters a lot. There are, like pretty adult situations because of the fact that it is, a cultured manga. I've read like the first 5 volumes of the series. I have volume 6 on my to-be-read shelf, and then I got volume 7 right here. And I've been watching the anime kind of on and off, but I have kind of a gripe with the anime, and that's like, I feel like it doesn't really look that good. I feel like the artwork in the original manga is so much better. If I was going to recommend one or the other, I would recommend the manga. I think the manga is way better in terms of just like the quality of the way that it looks and the story and whatnot. Though if you want to watch the anime, that's fine too. Like, I don't feel like you're going to miss, that much other than just, the artwork, because the artwork is actually pretty solid. But that's ultimately up to, it's up to you as the reader or watcher, however you want to consume this series. Since we're already talking cultured manga, let's talk about Honey Trap House. Let's talk about Honey Trap House. This is the second volume of the series. I'm not even sure why I picked this up. I'm trying not to pick up, too many volume 2s and 3s of series that I haven't even started yet. But I just picked this up for the hell of it. And I have volume 1 on my to-be-read shelf, and once I finish volume 1, I will decide if I want to continue the series or not. I recently had a thing like that with another series called like The White Mage Doesn't Want to Raise the Hero's Level, which is terrible. So now I'm starting to think I'm starting to try like cool the brakes on certain series, like trying to pump the brakes, like say like, let me like just read the first volume. So I'm not going to pick up any more of this series until I read volume 1, and just make sure that I actually like volume 1 before I pick up any more of it. So pretty much this dude moves into a house with a bunch of girls that are like assassins, and they're all like cute. I guess it's like a harem anime but with like assassin girls or whatever. I think they're trying to kill him or whatever. I'm not really 100% sure on that aspect of it, but I'm going to be reading the first volume of the series for a video. I can't remember if it's a currently reading video or if it's like a hey have you read video or whatever, but yeah, I'm going to be reading it pretty soon, the first volume at least, and if I do enjoy it, I'll continue it, and I have volume 2 right here, so here's hoping for the best. Alright, so now we've got Welcome Back, Alice, and this is by Kodansha. This is one of my favorite series that I am currently reading. I absolutely love Shuzo Oshimi. I think Shuzo Oshimi is one of the best creators ever. I usually, like, anytime I buy one of his manga series, I always feel like I have to mention that I love that dude's artwork, and that I think that his series are just absolutely gorgeous. This series is one of those things where, like, either you're gonna be on the fence about it or you're gonna love it. And I think I'm on the side of I love the series. I love the character. I don't want to say that I love the characters, because some of them are horrible. It's kind of like reading Boys Abyss, where, like, some of the characters are just horrible people. But I feel like it does get a lot better, where some of the actions that are taken start to, manifest in different ways. And there's a culmination in this seventh volume that I'm not gonna, or I'm sorry, there's a culmination in this sixth volume that I'm not gonna get into, but it's really brutal. And there's this video that existed a really long time ago that I don't even know if I should say the name of, but I'll just say the last part of it. And if you're in the know, then yeah, you know what I mean. I'm just gonna say the last part of it. Pain Olympics. If that means anything to you, if you're a part of that generation where you know what I'm referring to, there's a situation like that in this manga, and it was just absolutely brutal, and was not in any way, shape, or form expecting it, and it just made it more intense, more screwed up, dude. And pretty much, welcome back, Ellis. This is the story of this kid named Yo, and yeah, I forgot who's who. Like, there's a kid named Yo, and then there's this character right here who is K, and then there's another girl whose name I cannot remember right now off the top of my head. But there's this, like, sort of a love triangle, and it's a pretty screwed up love triangle. If you've ever read Shuzo Oshimi, you already know that he excels at screwed up love triangles. And I actually just started reading a series called Gift of Poison, which isn't by Shuzo Oshimi, but it's by somebody else, and it feels like a Shuzo Oshimi story. I'm probably going to be talking about Gift of Poison for a first impressions video, so that's something to look out for if you haven't read Gift of Poison, or if you're interested in checking it out or whatever. That's another one that, like, if you like Shuzo Oshimi, I think you'll like that. So far it's shaping up to be pretty good. I think like 3 chapters of it are available so far. But yeah, I love this creator. I love this series. And like I said, there's this lead character named Yo, who is kind of in love with his childhood friend, which is this character right here named K. I won't say too much more than that about it, because it will ruin the experience with this thing. And there is like some queer elements, involved in this story. So if you're a fan of that sort of thing, only this is like pretty brutal. It gets there pretty quick. It gets pretty brutal pretty quick, and there's some elements that are, like, not, the best, and there's like self-harm and whatnot. So if you can't abide that sort of a thing, I don't know if you're gonna really like it, but I do personally love it. I think it's an incredible series. So yeah, on to the next one. So this is a series that I talked about in a first impressions video, like, a long time ago. I think like last year. Yeah, last year, because I mentioned this in my favorite things 2023 video. But yeah, I think I talked about this by itself in a first impressions video. And I love this manga. It's so good, dude. I think this might cover the first part of like the 9 or 10 chapters that came out forever ago, and then it went like on hiatus or something, and then it came back. But this series is by a creator named Yuto Sano, and it is released by Viz Shonen Jump. The characters in this are a lot of fun. They're, I think, something called Troubleshooters. That's Alma, and that is Miss Tao. As you go through the series, you kind of get a little bit more of their individual backstories. I won't say too much about it, but pretty much they hunt like monsters or demons or whatever, and this is a world in which there are like beast men, like beast creatures or whatever, like catboys and whatnot. There's a literal catboy in the series, and there's like a guy who's like a wolf or whatever, like half wolf. One of my favorite characters in the series gets introduced later, which is a dude who's like a drunkard and reminded me of Kishibe. But I don't think he's introduced in this volume. Like, I haven't read this volume because I already read it on the Shonen Jump Viz app before I transitioned over to the Manga Plus app. But yeah, I already read pretty much all of this, so I'm just buying it just to support it, because I wanna own it to support this creator, because I love Yuto Sano's work. So yeah, man, Goku Rakugai is 100% worth it. Tons of fun, action. There's moments in there that are really depressing. I won't go into that. I won't say too much about that. If you want to know more about it, you can watch that video. It's on the channel somewhere. But yeah, they're pretty much troubleshooters. He, can transform, and then she uses her gun, which has like bullets that are made of this dude's blood. His blood has like special powers or whatever, like a special something that kills the monsters in this world. And then there's like a bigger narrative that's kind of taking place in the shadows, and there's like a whole organization of these like really weird creatures, or these really weird people that have powers like Alma does. So it gets really good. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in this series. Incredible artwork. If you want to check out a solid action manga, this is definitely one of them. All right, so I'm gonna read this name here. We got Yomotsu Hegui, the Tree of Death, and this is by Masasumi Kakizaki. This dude also did another series that I have over here, right there, Basterias. That is a really good manga. I've read the first volume of it only so far, because like I got like so much going on, dude, and it's like tough for me to catch up with everything. But this is also by that dude. He also made this one. He also has another series called like Greenhorn or Green Blood or something. I can't remember. That I also want to check out, which is like, it's like a Western or something. There's something about this series that feels really like Lovecraftian. Like that side of him right there, like reminds me of like Cthulhu. And speaking of Lovecraft, I'm going to be picking up in the next, I think, month or so is when the hardcover for At the Mountains of Madness. I think the hardcover drops next month. And then I also have Shadow over Innsmouth in a cart that I'm going to eventually be picking up as well, all by the same mangaka, that are like the translated works of H.P. Lovecraft into like a sort of manga form. And I really want to read Shadows over Innsmouth, because I'm a huge fan of the video game Bloodborne. I love Bloodborne. It's one of my favorite games ever. And there's a DLC, in Bloodborne where you end up in like this place called the Fishing Hamlet, and it's like pretty much like ripped from Shadow over Innsmouth. It's like the same thing sort of, and I'm really excited to to start that one, to see where the original idea came from. So I definitely want to check this one out too. I'm gonna actually be reading this for an upcoming video. I think this is going to be featured in my summer currently reading video. So yeah, I can't wait to see, what ultimately this is about, because this dude has incredible artwork. If you've read Bestiarius or whatever, I think you'll notice that like his artwork is so like gritty. It's kind of like reading, Berserk or whatever by Miura Sensei. So yeah, I'm definitely excited to jump into this one. I don't know if I said who this is by. This is by 7 Seas. All right, so next up we've got a series called Ado. Not really sure what this is about. I'm going to be reading this for that same summer currently reading video, so I'll be able to like give more of my thoughts about it when I do that video. This is by Kodansha as well. I kind of like that's got this thing right here going on. Pretty much there's this kid and this girl that saves him from, I guess, getting injured or something, and there's kind of like some, I want to say like some Akira, sort of vibes that I'm getting from just the artwork from looking at it. And also Wild Strawberry. If you've all ever read the manga Wild Strawberry, it kind of reminds me of that, where like there's this dude who's like, he's like Flower Saw Man, like instead of being Chainsaw Man, he's like Flower Saw Man. And the artwork for that series is also really good. I really do recommend Wild Strawberry. I did a video about Wild Strawberry a while ago, probably like, I think like early to mid last year, I did a video about Wild Strawberry. And this kind of reminds me of that, where like in Wild Strawberry, this dude is merged with this thing called a Jinka. Like his sister is like a full-on Jinka, and she and him kind of fused together in like a sort of, Pochita and Denji thing from Chainsaw Man. And, she protect her brother, and it kind of looks like that. I'm kind of getting that vibe from this series, like where he is mixed up with this sort of a plant thing, and also kind of reminds me of like Heavenly Delusion. If you've ever read Heavenly Delusion or seen the anime, that still kind of gives me that sort of a vibe. So I'm definitely interested in checking this out. I mean, I like that artwork. It's a nice thick boy. It's a nice thick volume. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to getting into this for a video. And then, like I said, when I do my videos, I give like a way more detailed, observation of, a series. So yeah, definitely check that out. Definitely look forward to that. Or if you've read the series, or if you've read, or if you've read any of the other stuff that I've talked about, I'd love to know what you think. This is a Kodansha one. Nina, the Starry Bride, Volume 2. I actually really like this series a lot. I read the first volume of the series for my Hey, Have You Read video, I'm pretty sure. I like that character a lot. I like her a lot. I think this is the same dude from the first volume as well. Pretty much, there's this girl who is like a street rat, and there's this princess, and she has to assume the identity of the princess, and then when she assumes the identity of the princess, she pretty much has to maintain, that identity. Otherwise, she will be killed as an imposter. It's a really well-written series. I'm not really sure if this is a shoujo or not, but I've definitely personally enjoyed the living hell out of it. I think the artwork is solid. I think the way that she's drawn, where like she's putting on this disguise or whatever, I feel like it's done really well. I like the connection that she has with, I'm pretty sure that's the dude that we meet in the first volume. I like the connection that she starts to kind of form with him, and she goes into this thing as, being already feisty, because like she was like a street rat, she wasn't, born into royalty, so she doesn't have, that those pre-existing things, like you're molded or whatever to be royalty. She doesn't have all of that, because she grew up on the street, and she grew up with these two brothers that, eventually end up, turning their backs on her and whatnot. They try to sell her out. But yeah, you can check out the video that I did about it, or, if you've already read it, I'd love to know what you think about it. Alright, so next up we've got Origin by Boichi. This is volume 3. This is also Kodansha. Yeah, this is a series that is absolutely amazing. I read the first volume of this thing, dude, and I absolutely loved it. I love that like, I've talked about this. I don't remember if I talked about this in the Hey, Have You Read? I think it was. I think I talked about this in my same Hey, Have You Read video that I talked about some of these other series in. But pretty much, like, this dude right here is like an android or whatever, and he has like this program pack that he is installed with. Yeah, like he has this program, that's installed in him, and it has like all these sorts of, codes or whatever, like how to behave, how to act, within this pack that he has installed, and it's pretty wild. The artwork is incredible, and it definitely feels more like the way that a machine, would act than, it. Acting more human or whatever. It would act logically, as opposed to emotionally. So I kind of really like that. I thought that was really well done. The artwork is incredible. I can't wait to continue reading it. I'm going to try to pick up even more of it as it drops and whatnot. I think maybe even volume 4 is probably already out, but I just have it up to, volume 3. I haven't started volume 2 yet, but I do want to. I wanted to start it right away after I read volume 1, but I'm so like all the time just kind of like, oh, I gotta read for the next video. So like sometimes I kind of end up abandoning series for like a long time, but I feel like I'm getting a little bit better about it, about catching up with certain things. And whenever I have some downtime, I do try to like power through certain series to kind of start to catch up, and not fall as far behind. Yeah, hopefully in the future I'll try to like be way better about it. But yeah, this is definitely highly recommended on my part. Alright, so I'd mentioned these way earlier when I was talking about Titan books or Titan manga or whatever. Alright, so these are 3 series that are by Alien Books. So right off the bat, we've got Legendary Warrior Momo, and then we've got Androl Back. I'm sorry. This is like one that a lot of people are really praising, so I'm really looking forward to checking it out. And then finally we got Fake Rebellion. So I'm really looking forward to reading all of these. I'm going to read this one for an upcoming video. And these two I really don't have upcoming videos for, so I might just read them. Maybe I'll read them together, or maybe I'll abandon what I was going to do with the other one and just read all of these at the same time, and maybe do a video, about Alien books new manga series. Because there's another one coming out that I think is coming out like next month or month after next, and I'll put a picture of it either here or there. And then there's another one too. There's gonna be maybe like 5 of them that are gonna be coming out all together. 2 more aside from these 3 that are already out. So maybe I'll do a video, talking about the series that they have so far. But pretty much this one, I think this dude's sister unalives herself, and he does something that ends up shortening his own lifespan. I'm not gonna get too into it because I really don't. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't really look that far into it because I wanted to try to go into it as as blank as possible. Like not really knowing too much about it. This one is pretty much this girl who's like, I guess, a warrior. I kind of cracked it open a little bit just to kind of get a peek inside, and right away you get like some boob shots. So there's definitely going to be some fan servicey stuff going on with this one. And this one just looks wild. This one's supposed to be pretty screwed up. So, and he kind of has like an L thing going on. So yeah, man, I'm looking forward to checking out all of these. And yeah, maybe I'll do a video about all 3 of these and nix this one from my upcoming video that I was going to mention it in. And just, do a single video talking about, alien books is first. I guess they're foray into manga. But I don't know if I want to call it like that because that makes it sound like, I feel like that maybe cheapens it. I don't want to cheapen, what they're doing. So let's say like, yeah, their introduction to manga, them stepping into a manga role. I really wish somebody would pick up Fuan no Tane. Wink, wink. Seriously, somebody please pick up Fuan no Tane so that we can have it in English. We got PTSD Radio by the same creator. So please, somebody give us Fuan no Tane. So I know some of you like that I'm doing like these long form haul videos. So I hope that you are enjoying yourselves so far and that this isn't in any way, shape, or form boring for you all. I'm going to slow this down a tad to talk about Naruto. Talk about Naruto. This is one of those series that, I kind of grew up with. This has meant a lot to me. I saw the anime, a lifetime ago. When I was, a teenager, I started reading. I keep saying reading. When I was a teenager, I started watching the anime. I never picked up the manga, and I decided to, pick it up just to kind of, to have it, to add it to the collection. And, since it's here, since I have it, and I figured since it's here, since I have it, why don't we kind of open it up and go through it. And I'll show you the different volumes of the manga that's in this thing. I used to do this with, like, certain videos. Like, I sometimes, like, do unboxing videos or whatever, where, like, I show you manga that's in a certain set or whatever. And that'd be cool to, do that with this and to show you the different volumes that are in this set. I'm sure a lot of you probably already have, these sets. And this is volume 5 right here. We got volume 6. We got volume 7 and then volume 8. So pretty much, I started getting into Naruto when I was a teenager. I was like 18, and I remember like I'd gone over to a friend's house, and he and some of his friends were talking about Naruto. They're like, "Hey, have you seen Naruto?" And I was like, "I don't even know what that is." And I ended up, kind of hanging out with them, and they showed me Naruto from like the first episode, and then I got hooked, and I started watching it myself. And I've talked about this a bunch on the channel, but like I was watching Naruto when like when people would watch it on YouTube, and it would be segmented into like 10-minute sections. I think it was like 10 or 7-minute sections or whatever, like 7, and then like the last part of it was like 5 minutes, which was like the outro or whatever. And that's how I started watching Naruto. And I just remember like, when I'd gone over to my friend's house. Like I remember when I'd gone over to my friend's house, they were talking about the waterfall fight, and I had no idea what that was. And they showed me a clip, from the waterfall fight, and it just blew me away, dude. I was like 18 years old, and it was like one of the wildest things that I had seen up until that point. And I got hooked from there, and I ended up, watching a lot of it myself. I still haven't even finished Naruto, but I did get pretty, I did get pretty far, into the series. I haven't finished the anime. Like I'm like within the last, I want to say like 50 or so episodes of Shippuden. I never finished it. I don't know why I never finished it. I just at one point in time just kind of lost interest in I guess anime or whatever. That's kind of where I'm at now, where like I'm just really not, like super into watching anime like I used to be when I was a lot younger, because I've been watching it forever. Like I'm in my mid 30s, so I've been watching anime. I've been watching anime since I was like 6, because I used to watch Pokemon, when I was like 6 years old before going to school. Like I used to watch Pokemon in like the early to mid 90s, I used to watch Pokemon. This is cool. I guess it's got like just random character facts or whatever. And yeah, I used to just watch a lot. Pretty much my whole life, watched anime. And like I didn't know, that it was anime when I was a kid. I don't think anybody else knew. I don't think any of us knew that it was anime. Any of us that grew up, here in the States that were like 6, 7 years old had no idea what the hell anime was. But I wanted to own at least, own this first set. I wanted to own at least this first set, I don't know if I'm going to pick up any more of it. More than anything, I wanted to own this because it's a part of, my, I guess, I don't know if I want to say childhood, because I was technically already an adult. At 18, you're an adult. So I don't know if I want to say childhood, but at least like my teen years, it meant a lot to me. And I feel like owning the manga is kind of like some full circle moment, you know what I mean? Because like that's kind of like where it all started for me, getting into Naruto at like 18, and then I started watching like Elfen Lied, and then I started watching like just kind of like getting darker and darker with the things that I started getting more into. But at the same time, like I like a lot more lighthearted stuff. Like I read a lot of like shoujo and whatnot. I'm not saying that all shoujo is lighthearted, but I mean like I do read like slice of life stuff. I just like reading, like whatever. For the most part, I will read almost anything, but I won't read anything, but I will read almost, anything. And this is one of those series that, just meant the absolute world to me. Alright, so by 7 Seas, we've got the first 2 volumes of High Rise Invasion. This one was a little more difficult to come by for whatever reason. The second volume is like out of print, I think. Or just not readily available. I'm sure at some point in time it may get a new printing. So I have a history with this series, and I've talked about this before on the channel. It's probably been a long time since I actually talked about it. But High Rise Invasion, I knew by the Japanese title, which was like Denku Shinpan. And I used to read this on a scan site. I used to read Dorohedoro on a scan site as well, and now I own all of Dorohedoro. But I used to read Dorohedoro on a scan site. I used to read this on a scan site. I would read Gantz on a scan site. Now I own all of these series, physically. But I remember this is like one of those series that to me, was like a fever dream, because I read this in like 2015. And like I said, I'd read it under the title, I didn't read the whole thing, but I did read a chunk of it under the title of Denku Shinpan. And I couldn't remember, where the hell I'd read it. I look up the title and I couldn't find it anywhere for the longest time. And then at some point in time, it ended up on Netflix. There was a series, High Rise Invasion on Netflix. And I was like, holy hell, dude, that's the manga. I was like, that's the manga that I read. That's Denku Shinpan. This is a true story, by the way. And I was like, holy hell, that's Denku Shinpan. So it does exist. It wasn't like some fever dream or like a Mandela effect or whatever, where like I'm thinking that I read this thing that never actually existed. Like there was this movie called Freaks or Freaked or something that came out in like the 90s that I also watched, starring Alex Winters, where he's like a freak. He's like a regular dude who like ends up at this carnival or whatever, and he gets turned into like a freak. And I just got the Blu-ray of it. I saw that movie forever ago when I was a kid, and that's one of those things, I'm sure you all have that, where like it's this thing you saw or you think you saw or whatever, and it's like a fever dream sort of a situation, and you're like, did I actually watch that? Did that thing actually ever exist, or did I imagine that it existed? And that was Freaked for me, like where like I couldn't remember if that movie actually was real or if it's just something that I imagined that I saw, and it turns out it is real. It's real, and yeah, Denku Shinpan. High Rise Invasion. I started reading this forever ago on a scan site, and I was like, I'm never gonna find it. I read it online. I was like, I'm never gonna find the series. It's probably just lost to time. And fast forward, like I don't even know how many years, like 10 years. I now own it right here physically. The first two, I guess, omnis of this series. So that's pretty wild to me. I'm going to be doing a video about Death Game manga, and it's cemented now. It's definitely happening. I know I've been mentioning that I was going to do it, but it's definitely happening. It's cemented now in stone because I have all the series that I need for that video. So with High Rise Invasion, and now I just picked up Doubt. So I have the first volume of Doubt. I ordered the second volume of Doubt because it's only 2 volumes. And this is like a part of like a 3-volume or 3 set. There's like 3 separate manga series that are all created by the same creator or creators. Yoshiki Yoshiki Tonogai. This is by Yen Press. Was this by Yen Press as well? Oh no, this was 7 Seas. But yeah, Doubt, Judge, I think, or Judge or Judgment is the other one, and then there is a third series that I cannot remember the name of off the top of my head. That are all like Death Game sorts of series that are all by the same creator. I'll put the third one over here. Dead Company, that's what it was. Dead Company. So yeah, Dead Company, Doubt, and Judge or Judgment. I can't remember what that title is. All by the same creator. I chose Doubt for whatever reason. I don't know, I just kind of like the bunny heads. So I'm going to go with Doubt, and yeah, Tenku Shinpan. I'm going to call it Tenku Shinpan, and you can't stop me. So yeah, I'm going to be reading these, plus 3 other series for... I have all of them. I have all 5 series for the I've been reading Death Game manga video. So yeah, that's happening. I don't know when, because like there's some other stuff I want to get out. There's like 3 or 4 other videos that I want to get out before that. So it's probably gonna be like, I want to say June to July, somewhere around there. It's happening. I want it to happen because I've been wanting to do that video for a while, and now I have all the pieces to that puzzle, and I absolutely have to talk about this thing because this is a full circle moment for me. And like, I don't know if you all realize like how important that is to me. That a series that I used to read on my breaks at work in like 2015, I'm now going to be talking about for a video. Like, that is a huge, like, just full circle moment for me. So yeah, dude, that's got me really excited, and yeah, I can't wait to talk about it with you all. Alright, by Kodansha, we've got The Fable. I finally have it. It's in English. It just got released in English. This is, yeah, I think I said already, this is by Kodansha. But this is one of those series that a lot of people have really hyped up. So I have a lot of really like high expectations going into this. Yeah, pretty much this dude is like an assassin or whatever, but he needs to go undercover, or yeah, he needs to live essentially like a normal life, kind of like Sakamoto Days. But I think this is more serious than Sakamoto Days, where like he's got to live like a serious life and not, do any crime or whatever, not kill anybody for like a year, I think it is. I can't remember, but yeah, he needs to like not kill anybody for like a year or something like that, and it's something that's going to prove like really difficult for him to accomplish. But I'm really looking forward to reading it, and once I do read it, I'm going to be knocking out a video about it to share my thoughts with you all. Man, we're going hard with Kodansha, dude. Like I think like half or most of the stuff that I've talked about today is all Kodansha. Kodansha's putting in work. We got Initial D. I did this for a video, one of my last videos. I think the video before this video. Like 2 or 3 videos back, I talked about Initial D, and I actually loved this first volume. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it, given that I really don't care about cars. I mean, like, I love my car, but I mean, I'm not like I don't know like super specifics, about, what's under the hood and all that stuff. Like, I'm kind of a layman, when it comes to that sort of a thing. But this series, really took me by surprise. I loved the characters in this. Even the dudes who are technically like the bad guys are a ton of fun. I don't think there's a single miss in this series. Seeing the racing, seeing the drifting or whatever that goes on in this series. This is a classic series. This is a re-release in an omnibus sort of a format. This series initially came out in like singles. It was never completed, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what I heard. It was never completed. It's got a new translation from what I've heard. I don't know if that's correct or not, but that's what I heard. That has a new translation, and it's pretty much been re-released in these really beautiful omnis. There's 3 versions of this. I have the basic version, and then there's There is a Barnes and Noble version, and then there's another version that I don't remember, where you can get that one from. But I just got the basic version because I just kind of wanted to own it. Like I don't have like an attachment to the series like other people do. So to me, this was like, this is enough. But yeah, I'm really happy to own this, and I loved the first volume. I cannot wait to get volume 2 and to continue the series. Alright, so we have something that I really want to talk about. I have another series by this dude. I have the first 2 volumes of his other series called The Boxer. But we're going to be talking about J.H. This is The Horizon by J.H. This is by Ease Press. And pretty much I am really happy to own these. I showed you the last volume first. But this is volume 1 right here. This is volume 2. Sorry, my lighting is kind of weird, so like it shows up way too bright. But and then, yeah, that's volume 3 of the series. So the reason that I picked up this whole set of this manga is that I'm gonna be doing a video about The Horizon, and it kind of reminds me of things like The Road by Cormac McCarthy. I just listened to the audio version of his one series, Evening Redness. I forgot what the title of it is. Blood Meridian or Evening Redness or something like that. And that thing is absolutely ruthless. That is one of the most screwed up things that I've ever listened to. I stopped reading books just because like I really don't have, I barely have enough time to read manga, for this channel. So reading books kind of like just gone out the window, and it's kind of unfortunate, like I wish I had more time to read books, because like I really want to like crack open a book and read a book. It's been such a long time since I had the time to just sit down and read a book. But I do want to talk about this, and like I have a lot of, references that I want to make, things, other media that kind of the idea of this, like The Road, like I said, by Cormac McCarthy, and just other, sorts of like post-apocalyptic, sorts of settings and whatnot. So I got a lot that I want to say, and like I haven't even started reading this yet, but I'm going to be reading it because I'm going to do it for a video, and I'm going to do the whole series. I don't know if it's going to be a spoiler review or not. Maybe it won't be a spoiler review in case anybody hasn't read it that, maybe wants to hear about it first. So yeah, I'm gonna go through the whole thing and just give you like, how I feel about it and the characters and the situation they're in, and pretty much not spoil the ending if we decide to go that route. So I'll let you all decide if you want a spoiler review of the series or if you want a non-spoiler review, and then I'll just like try to like tackle the different aspects of it and whatnot. And like I want to do kind of like a big video about it, maybe like 40 or so minutes, to really like kind of like go through this whole story. So yeah, I'm really excited to check this one out. Alright, so by 7 Seas, we've got Homunculus 7 and 8. I think there is like 1 more volume of this or 2 more volumes of this thing, and then that is all she wrote. Yeah, this is one of the most like screwed up things that I've personally ever read. I think that Hideo Yamamoto just burrows into the darkest part of humanity, the darkest recesses, of the human condition, to bring us one of the most screwed up manga series ever conceived. But for me, this is one of the series that, even though it is pretty screwed up, I really like the artwork, and I like that it does, sort of delve into, the darker parts of humanity. And it doesn't, in my opinion, it doesn't glorify them. It just kind of presents them to you and lets you make your own opinion about it. And I feel like this cover does a pretty good job of showing you that this is pretty unhinged. There is no retribution here. This is just straight up human misery, human nihilism at its finest. So if you like that sort of a thing, I think you'll probably enjoy, or at least get some sort of I don't know, thrill or whatever from reading Homunculus. So by Viz and Shonen Jump, by the late Akira Toriyama, we've got Sandland. I'm going to be reading this. I haven't started it yet, but I'm going to be reading it for my upcoming mangaka spotlight video. We're going to be talking about Akira Toriyama, so I got Sandland. Alright, so also picked up all of Dragon Ball and all of Dragon Ball Z, but we'll go through these first. We'll go through Dragon Ball first. So like many people that, were fans of Akira Toriyama's work, I grew up with the series, and like there's literally millions of people that also, all over the world that grew up, with the works of Akira Toriyama. And these Viz Big editions are by they're by Viz Media and Shonen Jump. And this is one of the series that, I used to watch the anime when I was like 5, 6 years old. I used to watch it in the mornings. And I can't remember if it was before school or, like on the weekends or whatever, because it was like a lifetime ago. But Dragon Ball, to me meant the world. I used to love, watching it, and the characters, like little Goku, and like I have like those faint memories, you know what I mean, of like being a really young kid and watching it, and then being a little bit older, like 7, 8. I remember like like the kids that I grew up with in the neighborhood in which I grew up. I remember them watching, like Dragon Ball Z and whatnot, and getting really into Dragon Ball Z. And I never really got into Dragon Ball Z growing up. It wasn't until like later, until I was in like my teen years or whatever, that like I started to watch Dragon Ball Z. After I'd gotten into like Naruto, I started to watch, Dragon Ball Z and whatnot. But it's still, it still means the world to me, like getting into Dragon Ball, changed my life. It changed what I would end up, consuming, what I would, eventually become a fan of. And it feels incredible, to own these series, to own these collections, and I kind of wish that I'd picked them up, way before now, and that I didn't wait until Akira Toriyama passed away to, pick them up. But I did want to pick them up because it's a pretty significant part of my childhood, and the same way that it is for a lot of people. And like I follow a lot of people on Instagram that, when Akira Toriyama passed away, so many people just like posted their collections and whatnot. And I have right here, I've got some of the brick, DVDs that I bought when I was like 17, not 17, but like 18, 19, 20. I have a bunch of them there. And I'll show those when I do my Akira Toriyama video. Like I'll break them out or whatever, just to show you all. And then I also have Dragon Ball Z. These are also in the Viz Big editions, and this is one of those series that like actually a long time ago now, like more than 10 years ago, I'd say, I got my nephew just basic Dragon Ball. I got him the DVD set, I think, the first part of Dragon Ball DVD set, and he loved it. Like he would just sit in his room and watch nothing but Dragon Ball. And my sister, at the time, was like, oh, I thought he was gonna hate it, and he actually loved it. And I was like, of course he loved it, bro. Like, what's there not to love? So it feels pretty wild, man, to like to own this, to have a pretty significant part of so many people's childhoods. And it's wild, like how many people absolutely just, grew up with, with either Dragon Ball or like, with Chrono Trigger, or like Dragon Ball or whatever, Dragon Quest. And, it's one of those things where it's a huge cultural thing that, spanned, as I've said already, spanned like a lot of countries and whatnot, and it meant the world to so many people just everywhere. And unfortunately, I never finished the anime for Dragon Ball Z, and I do want to, but I'm kind of debating now if I shouldn't just, start the manga over from scratch and just, consume that, and then maybe later on, watch the anime, because it's been so long since like I watched the last part where I left off. And so I don't know, I'm thinking maybe I'll go back and just consume it from scratch, and instead of watching it, I'll read the manga, or maybe even go, because part of my plan is to go back and start over from Dragon Ball and take that adventure all the way from the beginning, because it's been like a lifetime since I consumed Dragon Ball. I was a little kid when I was watching Dragon Ball. So that's what my goal is, to read Dragon Ball all the way through the end of Dragon Ball Z. I'm not going to do that before I make the video, because that's just going to take way too long, and I'm not going to I don't have time like that to read all of that manga. But I'm going to read at least like, the first volume of Dragon Ball, and I want to read Sandland, and also have Manga Theater on my shelf that I'm going to try to get through as well to, get this video out. Because I want to have, a pretty strong basis, to go off of. And I do have, my memories from watching Dragon Ball Z. So I'm gonna use some of that to kind of, you know, get that video made, to do the mangaka spotlight video, and talk about you know, different things that Akira Toriyama has done, you know, with his career to bring joy to people, you know, everywhere, dude. And yeah, man, I have nothing but love and admiration and praise, you know, for the world and worlds, I guess, if you will, that Akira Toriyama created. And so many people have gotten to explore those worlds, and you got to think there's kids now that are probably just barely getting into Dragon Ball through their parents, or Dragon Ball Z, you know, or any of those games through their parents who were, you know, big nerds growing up or whatever, and, you know, love that stuff and are showing it to their kids now, and their kids are becoming enamored with it, and it's a whole new generation of people that's gonna, you know, get to grow up the way that we grew up, you know, with this thing, and I think that's really cool. So, all right, so let's do DRCL, Midnight Children, Volume 2. This is by Shinichi Sakamoto. This is by Viz Signature. I read and loved the first volume of DRCL. A friend of mine read it, and he kind of got his hopes up. He thought it was going to be a lot better than it was, and he couldn't really get into it. At least to him, you know, it could have been better to him, but to me, I loved it. I loved the first volume of the series. I also read Innocent by the same creator, by Shinichi Sakamoto, and I did a video about it. I did a video about Innocent. I also did a video about DRCL, so those are both on the channel. I've done so many videos, dude. This dude looks like Michael Jackson. Like, if you opened it up and you start reading it, like, this Dracula character looks like Michael Jackson, and it's pretty obvious that it was on purpose. And I don't know, man. I love Shinichi Sakamoto's artwork. I want the Climber, you know, at some point. Hopefully we get the Climber in English. I have it in Spanish, and I need to start the Spanish version that I own, but yeah, this is pretty much like a reimagining of Dracula through this dude's eyes, and the characters that exist within the Dracula universe are reimagined as like prep school students and whatnot. So it's a pretty wild story, and I don't want to say too much about it. I mean, you could watch my video if you want to know more, but it's a pretty wild read. I love that it's in like these hardcovers. It looks really cool. The artwork for it. The artwork within is also incredible. The amount of detail and whatnot that this dude puts into the things that he creates are just, it shows, you know, that he really cares, that he puts a lot of love and dedication. And I follow him on Instagram, and it's just cool seeing his artwork, you know, seeing him draw like everything that he does, and you can tell that he really genuinely cares, you know, about what he's doing. So I have nothing but praise and admiration for this creator, and everything that he drops in English, dude, I'm picking that stuff. I'm picking it up because I wanna add it all to the collection. All right, so we're almost done. I got this right here to get through, and then I got two more after this. This is by one of the looniest. This is by one of the looniest mangaka out, and you can tell by looking at this artwork right here that this dude is bananas. This is Shintaro Kago. So we're going to take these out. Hopefully there's nothing too inappropriate going on right here. So this is Dementia 21, and I can't tell you who published this. FB? Never heard of FB, but I think that's who published this series. Yeah, so we got two volumes right here of Dementia 21. We got volume 1 there, and then volume 2 here. Shintaro Kago has some of the most insane artwork that I've ever seen in my life, and I don't think you need to go any further than this cover right here to see just how bananas his artwork is. And pretty much this series is about, I guess, like getting dementia, like developing dementia, like going bananas, or like just kind of like losing your marbles or whatever, like that dude in Hook.
Lost.
Lost what?
I've lost my marbles.
If you're old enough to get that reference. But yeah, pretty much, dude. I feel like this right here kind of tells you like what you're gonna get yourself into with Dementia 21. So I ended up getting this box set right here, and I'm really glad that I did. It's definitely worth it. Just looks like such a wild series, and I don't know if I'll be able to do a video about this series because of the fact that this dude's artwork is so screwed up, you know, and it might be kind of difficult to, you know, get away with it for YouTube. But I don't know, maybe I'll do it as like a Patreon post or something at some point. Maybe I'll start doing more like things that I can't get away with on YouTube. Maybe I'll do those sorts of things like on Patreon, and I'll just make it free or whatever, you know, like I won't paywall it, you know. Maybe I'll make those things, you know, maybe those videos free or something. But yeah, if you want something that's like super irreverent, if you like things like Velveteen and Mandala, but it's too tame. If you think like Velveteen and Mandala is too tame, then yeah, you should definitely check out the work of Shintaro Kago, because this stuff is just off the walls, insane. So I'm closing out with these huge deluxe volumes, and right here we've got the first volume of Vinland Saga. These just came out pretty recently. This is by Makoto Yukimura. I had the smaller hardcover volumes up there. As you can see, they are gone. I no longer own them. I decided to swap those out for these big hardcover volumes. And yeah, I've got volume 1 right here, and I've got volume 2 right there. I love the way that these are designed. Like, you can see like that it's literally inlaid, and I think the lettering right here is inlaid, and then it's got like these runes or whatever like along the top. It's got those runes, and it's right there, book 1, and it's got like some like I guess I don't even know what to call it, like Viking art or whatever, you know, kind of like designs just going through the whole thing. This is by Kodansha. Absolutely beautiful presentation. I love that it's huge, dude, because I read the first 2 volumes of, or at least the first volume and a half. No, I read the first 2 volumes of Vinland Saga a lifetime ago, and then I never continued it. I never read volume 3, but I loved the first 2 volumes of it, and it's one of those series that like gets so much better, you know, as it goes on, and I just never continued it. I don't know why I never continued it, but I just never did. And now that I have these, I'm going to start it over. I'm going to start it over from scratch, because I kind of don't really 100% remember, you know, the story, because I started reading it in like 2015, 2016. So it's been like almost 10 years, or if not 10, yeah, almost 10 years since, you know, I initially started the series, and I don't remember everything that happened. And I don't want to watch the anime, because like I'd really rather read the manga. I really don't watch a lot of anime anymore. It's hard for me to like, you know, keep interest in it. But I love reading manga, and I'd rather, you know, just consume the manga. And then, like I said, this one just dropped, like, I think the other day, or like last week or whatever. This volume just dropped. And yeah, dude, I'm gonna be reading this. I think I'm gonna be doing a video once I read this. I don't know if I'll do like, you know, maybe like one every volume, or, you know, or maybe do multiple volumes per video, do like a Let's review or whatever about Vinland Saga. I think that would be cool. So yeah, we'll see what happens. So that's all I have for you. I hope that you have enjoyed our time together as much as I have. I hope that it's meant as much to you as it's meant to me. I really don't know what else to say. I feel like I did a whole lot of talking. This video is well over an hour. Before edits, this video is almost an hour and a half pre-edits. By the time I edit it down, hopefully I can get it to like an hour 10 or an hour 15 or something. Just cut everything that doesn't really work. I got a lot of stuff that's always working on this channel. If you like what I do here and you want to support me, you can do so by joining the Patreon. It's $2 a month. I do behind the scenes stuff. I show you what I got coming up, sometimes up to like a week in advance. I show panels from what I got going. I even show like what I'm going to be talking about in certain videos or whatever. So I do a lot of stuff, you know, over on the Patreon. It's only $2 a month if you want to support it. You don't have to if you don't want to. Support in other ways. You can share these videos with your friends or whatever. Or if you want to do a donation to the channel, to myself, you can drop a super thanks underneath the video. As of right now, I don't really have any plans to create a YouTube membership. I think I'm just going to keep the Patreon, and then, you know, like just have the super thanks or whatever. So yeah, that's really all I have for you. Just want to say really quickly, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope that you are doing well. I hope everyone you love is doing well. Until next time that we meet, please take care of yourselves. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Whatever you're reading, whatever you got going on, if you picked up any manga recently, let me know in the comments. Let us all know in the comments what you got going on. That's all I got for you. Take care of yourselves. Until next time.
Yo, it's himself, the Shadowrunners clique, aka Sleep All Out. Take you on a mental and live for one day, y'all. Sheets, y'all. Guns, y'all. Yo, who got the guns, you got the coke. Hustling them through like big puns, cholesterol before he croaked. Rest in peace, but I bless in peace and live to one day lean shoots. Rap over beats and tell wild stories, the mythology mystery. Choke on your own misery, fuck them, we're the wild bunch. Yo, I asked him if this bike could punch. This shit made me lose my lunch. Bro grabbed the rocket, I said chill before he cocked it.